Good evening. Welcome to the regular Planning Commission meeting on this it's a very special Tuesday, 2/22/22. Right. We're going to start off our meeting tonight with a swearing in of our newest commissioner, Mr. Cedric Bedoya.
All right, I'm going to face this towards you because that's what's important.
Okay.
All right, so you can raise your right hand, and it's missing here, but after I, you'll just say your name, okay?
Okay.
Ready? So
I, Cedric Bedoya,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California.
I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon
Which I am about to
which
enter.
I'm about to enter.
Got it. You're in anyways, it's fine. All right,
Sir, you want to take a picture with your family? I'll. Go up there and I'll. Yeah.
Happy birthday tomorrow, Samantha.
Diego.
One, two, three. On three, one, two, three. There you go. Congratulations.
So with that, we will now call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. I could have a roll call vote, or roll call attendance, please.
Commissioner Stevens,
Here.
Commissioner Bedoya,
Here.
Commissioner Black, Vice Chair Colindres, Chairman Smith.
Here. All right, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Bedoya, if you would lead us, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda tonight?
No, sir.
Do we have any conflicts of interest to disclose tonight? No? Okay. We'll go with the public comment period. This meeting will be open to the public and conducted in a virtual format to be inclusive of all participation preferences. Public comment participation is encouraged by emailing any comments to the city clerk's office or by using the phone number provided in the front of the agenda. Do we have any requests to speak on items not on the agenda tonight?
I have no written comments, and just for minutes, Commissioner Black is now in attendance on Zoom.
Thank you.
Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
No, no callers.
All right, so moving on to action items, approval of the minutes. Are there any requests to speak on this item?
I have no written comments. Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
No, we do not.
Any comments from committee members or commission members? No. All right, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes for January 11th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Bedoya?
Yes.
Commissioner Black?
yes,
Chairman Smith?
Yes. All right, moving on to the next item. Item number 2, SP 2022-0007, specific plan amendment to the Four Seasons specific plan. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before you this evening is a request for a specific plan amendment to the existing Four Seasons specific plan. Four Seasons is an age-restricted 55-year and up community that was originally approved in 1989. It's located west of Highland Springs and south of Potrero Boulevard, with Banning located to the east, Seneca Springs to the west, and some vacant land and open space to the south. Four Seasons is now built out, and there are a variety of lot sizes in this development, ranging from lots with a minimum of 2,600 square feet up to lots with a minimum of 6,300 square feet and greater. The setbacks in the area range in the front yard from a minimum of 7 feet to a minimum of 20 feet. Many of the homes built earlier in the development are on the larger lots and have the greater setbacks, and then many of the newer homes have been constructed on the smaller lots and have smaller or reduced setbacks. Throughout the years, city staff and the Four Seasons Homeowners Association Board have worked with the homeowners on tree removal issues. Typical issues that we would see involve roots affecting pipes and trees causing damage to roofs. The many affected sites have no alternative location for planting due to the small lot sizes and the locations of the houses on the lot sizes. Citywide, we have in the zoning code a landscape requirement that requires a minimum of 2 trees in the front yard of a single-family residence. This was also included in the front yard landscaping requirements for the Four Seasons specific plan. After working with the Homeowners Association and talking with staff here in the city, we as staff are recommending a change to the Four Seasons specific plan landscaping requirements. It is included in red line in your staff report. The primary change being the requirement for maintaining 2 trees being able to be waived if either a tree has been removed to property maintenance issues or if the front yard has a depth that's less than 20 feet. Staff believes that this allows the 2 tree minimum requirement to remain in place, but also gives homeowners an option to not have to replace a tree if there's no viable alternative location. So having said that, staff is recommending that the commission hold a public hearing and then forward to the city council a recommendation of approval of this specific plan amendment. Staff is available if you have any questions, and we do have a representative from Four Seasons here this evening as well, and we're happy to take any questions and entertain any discussion.
Thank you. We'll start with questions for staff. Commissioner Stevens?
No questions.
Commissioner Bedoya?
Yes, so this wouldn't allow them to remove any trees existing?
So it would allow them to remove trees that are existing. So currently, if a homeowner wants to remove a tree, and this is anywhere in the city, not just in Four Seasons, we have a free application that's just called a tree removal application, and they let us know, what they're removing and then what they're replacing it with. What this would do would then allow the homeowner to not have to replace a tree if it was removed because it was causing a property maintenance issue. So if the tree was removed because it was damaging the pipes or it's damaging the roof or, it's causing some other issue on the property, we would then not require them to replace the tree that was being removed. And this would apply just in this development, not citywide.
Okay.
Commissioner Black?
Yes, I don't know if you said it, but I know that you're eliminating the 2-tree requirement. Is there a requirement or is there room on every lot for 1 tree?
So we're not removing the 2-tree requirement. So it still says all lots shall provide for a minimum of 1 15-gallon front yard tree and 1 15-gallon accent tree. So that's what it says right now, which that's how we get the 2 trees. It just is adding the provision that the requirement for maintaining 2 trees can be waived if one of the 2 conditions are met. So if the tree was removed because of property maintenance issues, or if a tree was removed and the front yard depth is less than 20 feet, then we would not require them to replace the tree. It doesn't allow for just arbitrary removal of one or both trees for no reason.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
In the event you do have arbitrary removal of trees without reason, is there an enforcement mechanism to require them to replace the tree, or is that a matter for the HOA?
So code enforcement can enforce enforce the code anywhere in the city, including in gated communities. So we could choose to send code enforcement out. Typically in a case like this, we would work with the homeowner or with the homeowners association to find out, what the will is on that. And then, but the code is what the code is. So if they couldn't meet one of these 2 requirements, then we are obligated to move down the path of having that tree replaced.
All right, so with that, we'll open the public hearing at 6:13. Do we have we have a representative are you from the HOA?
Yeah, I live there, yes, and I am part of the board.
Part of the board, all right.
And I've been working on this issue with the trees, with Christina and with Todd initially. I want to say one thing. We have over 4,000 trees on our property. The HOA is responsible for the upkeep and trim of those trees, just to give you an idea of our forest that we have. We have an architectural review committee. You just made a comment relative to enforcement. What that committee does is follows the rules. We have our CCRs, we have our guidelines, but when the city has something more overriding, we will adhere to it. We would like to see this amendment go through, obviously, and we want to make sure it's as objective as possible. We don't want any interpretation by a group now to be able to waive a requirement for one person and in similar situation not waive it. It's got to be cut and dry. To work out, it has to be. But we've got a problem. I brought pictures, and I don't know if you need to see me. We got some really small lots. We got lots of this. This is the front yard, right here. I took some pictures today. And you say, well, you could put a tree in the middle there. But the water and the gas pipes are right there. And here's what we're facing right now as an HOA from our standpoint. We have had 2 but I just want to give you an example, patios where trees outside their backyard that are common property evaded the property under there, lifted the deck. We paid for it. We paid for that damage. That was our advice. We've had 2 examples in the front yard where one was there and the tree wrapped around and cracked the sewage pipe. The guy had it roto-rooted a couple times till they finally scoped it and saw it was full of tree roots. The other issue was a driveway. In all these cases, the HOA is responsible, and that could add up to a lot of money. So we would sure like to see this happen, and we're in favor of it as a group, just to let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other requests to speak on this item?
I have no written comments. Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
No colors.
All right. I am sympathetic to that plea. I'm in a HOA, served on that board as well, and the tree uprooting and that kind of stuff. It is a continuous maintenance issue. We don't have 4,000 trees in our neighborhood, but we still had to maintain quite a few. So definitely sympathetic to that, and appreciative of you showing up tonight. Is there any further comment or question that we have from the commission?
I did have a comment or a question for the gentleman that spoke.
Barry Genetti.
Barry.
I didn't introduce myself.
So Just to clarify, the HOA is responsible for the trees even though it's on private property?
No, there, 550 of our properties, we have responsibility for front yard. The other 1,300 properties, the owner would have like my property is not covered by that 550, I'm responsible. But outside, all the 4,000 plus trees I talk about are what the HOA is responsible for on our property. The streets, the forests that are around it, and then those 550 homes.
And aside from what Mr. Genetti is referencing, staff has, I mean, we regularly get requests in and calls in from people in that development regarding the removal and replacement of trees just because of the issues that the smaller lots have posed. So in theory, the one-size-fits-all landscape requirement makes sense because that's what the zoning code calls for as well citywide. But as we've moved through development with Four Seasons moving from the larger lots down to the smaller lots, we've seen issues like this crop up where if you've got a lot this size and a tree grows after, 5 years, it's scraping the roof tiles and its roots are, down under, it's lifting the sidewalk or whatever, a number of issues that occur. So we regularly get calls from them. And so considering the history on it, we thought it warranted a staff-sponsored amendment.
And we don't want to have to put the city through everybody asking for a variance. We want something cut and dry that we can handle it for you. And when we say you're allowed to go to one tree, that's it. Code could come out and check it, but we don't want to have 100 homeowners say, I need a variance because of this.
I'm sure staff is appreciative of that.
Oh, that was one of the conditions we were thinking about.
Thank you for that. And I just want to say this type of public-private partnership, getting together with the HOA, like Commissioner Smith, I live in an HOA. I'm currently serving on the HOA board, and my neighbors have had, sewer problems and water, destroying the water main and all that kind of stuff with the trees because they're very small lots. So something like this, in your situation, Barry, it will be helpful. So thank you.
Any other discussion items?
I just have one other question. So the HOA will determine whether the tree is removed or if there's a valid property maintenance issue? Sorry, no.
I have an issue with my back, and I had therapy today, and she's right, it is going to hurt a little bit tonight. What happens in our thing, anybody that applies to do something to the exterior of their lot, theoretically inside too, if they're doing stuff, they are to fill out forms and send it in to us. So if somebody wants to change the landscaping on the front of their house, which is going to be an issue coming up. Some of these houses are 13, 14 years old. We have some that are less than 3, and they were poorly landscaped to start with. Don't send code enforcement out right now. I mean, I just went through there today, and there's no trees, there's nothing. It's pretty bare. Anyway, they will submit a form to us telling us what they're going to do. Now, if they're going to replace in kind the same way it is, it'll be approved. If they want to go back and say, I need to remove a tree, they will then have to go to the ordinance. Right now, they tell anybody after 2016, everybody was grandfathered in before 2016. Anybody after there that changes their front yard has to have 2 trees, even if they didn't have them before. So that's how we follow it. That's our policy. I wouldn't call it enforcement, but we will go out and make sure they have to submit a landscape plan and show that the trees are there. And also we have criteria on the kinds of trees that are there. Okay? Any more questions?
But you might want to stay up just in case.
Thank you. Yeah, I will. I'm sorry, but...
All right, any more questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll close the public hearing then at 6:21. And I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Yes, I move to approve.
You have 2 motions to approve. We just need one of you to second.
I'll second.
There we go. All right. So we have a motion and we have a second. Could we get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Bedoya?
Yes.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
And Chairman Smith?
Yes. All right, thank you. Item number 3, discussion and direction on design guidelines or standards for the downtown area plan. I'll start off with a quick, staff introduction and go from there.
All right, thank you, Chairman. So as some of you may be aware, the downtown area plan was adopted as part of the general plan update back in the end of 2020, took effect January 2021. And council has, over the past year, been paying quite a bit of attention to that area plan and what's going on in the downtown. And they have really captured the vision of, what they would like to see in the downtown. And through the Economic Development Committee, they're currently working with downtown business owners, establishing a downtown business owner, committee would probably be the right word for that, and are facilitating some meetings to get input from the business owners downtown on what they would like to see and how that downtown area plan works or doesn't work. There are a number of issues that have been mentioned as far as, parking in the downtown and some of the lots being old and small and already built on, and then some of the buildings, existing, having some issues and whatnot. And so overall, council is really wanting to get some direction, I think, from the business owners as well as from the community on what they would like to see in the downtown. As it pertains to tonight's discussion, staff thought it would be beneficial to bring forth an item just to get some feedback and to start the conversation here with the commission on design guidelines or design standards that might be of interest to the commission. And I've included in here some of the, in here being in the staff report, some of the items that are already part of the downtown zoning and downtown area plan, as well as some exhibits. Oh, actually, I think I put the whole downtown area plan in there for you guys. So I really just wanted to open a discussion. If there's anybody from the community that's watching that wants to call in and comment, or just from commission to talk about the downtown area and, get some feedback, some thoughts from you guys on how we can, as staff, help facilitate and take some information that we get here and that we get from the downtown businesses, and then take that back to council and get some direction from them as well. So with that, I'm happy to just open it up for you guys to comment away or ask questions.
Sounds good. Thank you. So before we open up for commission discussion, is there anybody on the line who would wish to speak on this item?
Heather, do we have any callers?
No, I don't have any right now.
And I have no written comments.
Okay. So we'll just, I'll call on each one of you and have some initial thoughts, and then I guess we can discuss kind of round from there and see where this goes. So Commissioner Stevens.
I did see either a flyer or an announcement that there's with the committee that you just said,
Yeah, Economic Development Committee.
and I believe one of our own is on that meeting that's going to be happening. So do you have the date for that?
So the Economic Development Committee itself meets, I think, the second or third Monday of the month, and I would have to get that for sure. But then the March 24th is, I believe, a gathering at one of the downtown businesses where they're trying to bring everybody together to facilitate some discussion on that. I believe Economic Development Committee members will be present, as well as business owners from downtown.
And do you have the location for that?
I believe it's at the Craft Lounge.
That's right. Okay. And you don't have any idea if that's going to be recorded or available on Zoom for the public, or?
Do you have any idea?
It is not going to be recorded. We just don't have that ability there.
to be able to do so. It's not a agendized meeting. It's just a gathering of business owners.
Open to the public or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Craft Lounge is on Beaumont
Beaumont
Avenue.
Avenue, 768 Beaumont Avenue or something in that
Could
neighborhood.
be. It's just the next block up
The east
here.
side. East side of the street.
Yeah. Just south of 8th Street on the east side of Beaumont Avenue. Yeah. It's March 24th.
Do you have a time on?
Let me see if I can pull up the flyer while you guys talk and then, because, I'm just sort of winging it right here.
Yeah, I
like
believe
with
it
what I
was-
remember from earlier today and,
I believe it was Thursday, the 24th at 6.
I haven't seen a flyer yet, so I don't.
okay, maybe it's not out. Okay.
But as it won't mess with my trivia night there, so we're okay. Commissioner Stevens, do you have any ideas or discussion? Do you want to hear some other thoughts before diving into design guidelines or criteria?
No, that was my only
Okay.
item so far.
Commissioner Bedoya?
No, not right now.
Commissioner Black?
No, I don't have anything at this time. Thank you.
Oh, man, so I'm going to do all the talking tonight. Okay, so I'm excited to see this kind of come up as well, because I think the downtown area plan was a good first step, and now it's just a matter of going through and implementing it. And I think that there's been a lot that we've learned over the last couple of years about, what a downtown is going to look like and how it can function that may have been different from 2019. The first thought that I had when looking at this is it really, it's laid out as 3 distinct zones. It really is 3 distinct zones. And I don't think that we could have a single set of guidelines that would apply universally across each one of those.
Right.
I'll start kind of talking about streetscape, so forth, my area of expertise a little bit more. It really would be to try, to encourage people, the kind of the walkability, the livability aspects of it. I think that as we're in the extended 6th Street district, well, okay, let me start. In general, everywhere, I think what we should be doing is look into underground and remove as many utility appurtenances from public sidewalks as we can. If we're able to get electrical vaults and structures up on side streets, if we can get, that kind of stuff, it gives a more inviting, open pedestrian atmosphere and provides more flexibility for business owners, should they be looking to do something outdoor.
Pause for 1 minute. Nicole, is there a way to get a map up on it's page 19 of the agenda? Sorry, I didn't think about that. Okay. I just wanted to bring up the map so they can have some
Of course.
context for what you're talking about, the 3 distinct zones.
Of course. So I think that's kind of a global, what we should be looking at. From there, I think it breaks down really kind of by district. The extended 6th Street, I think the things that are going to make that corridor look more appealing is, kind of enhanced landscaping that we have along the street. Limiting, decorating the intersections a little bit better, utilizing bulb outs, some way to kind of push some landscaping into the streetscape to help to slow traffic, make it more inviting for pedestrians as we come by. I prefer to have parking either on the side or the rear of a business, especially along the corridor streets, being 6th and Beaumont Avenue. It just makes it more inviting and a little less. It feels like a little less 1980s kind of, strip mall type development.
Right.
That district's going to be interesting because it is a higher speed roadway. So I think with the enhanced landscaping, pulling the pedestrians away from the street in that zone is probably a good idea.
Right.
The
Yeah,
types of businesses there in multifamily, it's going to be more mixed use. So it's really going to vary from, I think, business to business.
Yeah, and that, which all of you, live here, so you're familiar, but the further east you go towards Highland Springs, the more, I guess, commercialized and sort of larger scale, like you've got the Stater Brothers Shopping Center, you've got the Applebee's, you've got, Do It Best and the KV Floor and Guy, so those are sort of larger lots with established businesses versus, further west in that light blue area that you're looking at there on the screen, has some more opportunity for, like, the mixed use will occur there, see some commercial residential combos. There's been a lot of attention paid to, both from the business owners and from council, on the walkability of the streets and the slowing traffic. And so I know that is going to be a big topic of conversation. At the last Economic Development Committee meeting, a couple of our business owners brought that up about the need to sort of slow traffic down a bit, because that's what helps people see what's there, and it also encourages people to come out and walk more, because you feel safer when you're walking on a street where maybe traffic is a little slower, or maybe you have bikes riding as well, instead of traffic coming through at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour.
Yes, exactly. I think as we get in the downtown district, that's where I would really like to see the roads go on a diet. Narrow those roads as much as we can, introduce more diagonal parking on the street, look at, reduced parking requirements for buildings, especially as they front the corridors of Beaumont and 6th, to be able to utilize more of the diagonal or parallel parking that's on the streets. That'll have the effect of slowing traffic down, kind of drive some interest in wanting to park there. Even if we go to single lane, the intent throughout all of this is to get cars to go to businesses and not to push them through to get to somewhere else.
Right.
Neighborhoods that are going to have plenty of access, especially once Pennsylvania interchange is done, to get up to neighborhoods that way, through Oak Valley, through Highland Springs. So I think that we're covered as far as that. This will help to promote it. As we get back on some of the side streets on, 5th and 7th and, some of the other north-south streets, on-street parking there is probably fine. Parking that fronts those, really is kind of, I think about it really enhancing that corridor as you're looking down there. I saw that you had the requirements in here for 50% of the building frontage needs to be openings. I think that's, I would say that's a minimum.
Right.
I'd like to see more.
Yeah.
I think of, kind of great, vibrant downtown areas. I went to school up in San Luis Obispo, and they have an incredible, vibrant downtown. It's an eclectic mix of buildings. It's, it's very walkable. They've pushed sidewalks out. They've really tried to slow cars down. So I think that's kind of a good model to look at. And we have kind of this, roadside, is old US 60 kind of stuff as you go through town. That would be interesting to have some of that style mixed with everything else on, that exists within the community. Varied setbacks, allow for patio dining, those types of things, I think just help to really drive a feel. You have a parking management plan at some point. It'd be nice to have, possibly look at a parking deck somewhere. That might have to be something that's looked at in the future. The thing that I would love to see is 5th and Beaumont get cleaned up. Coming off the freeway and the gateway to the city is McDonald's and a gas station. It'd be nice to see that area enhanced. Who knows what Caltrans is going to do when they rebuild the interchange? They could drive a lot of that, but it'd be nice to try to incorporate some, kind of gateway entrance, I think, on that spot. I like to encourage multi-floor where we can. We can go 2-3 floors, as again, kind of along the corridors. Mix it up kind of elevation wise on there too. I think it just provides relief and some interest as people come by.
Yeah.
I don't want to get so into detail on we need to have a certain style or colors or anything like that. I think that so long as they're, I don't know, I say respectful, but I'm not sure that's the right term. I don't want someone painting their business bright pink necessarily. But, if it's true to kind of the architectural style that they're working on, I think that, it could work out. A chalet next to something that's Spanish could be interesting, but, I'm not sure that that's going to be the case. And then the last one I was thinking of the Beaumont Avenue district, again, there, it's really, I see that area as a lot of converted housing into businesses, be like lawyers and, my daughter's orthodontist is in an old house that's converted in Redlands. I could see a lot of items like that where, again, if we can put the road on a diet, slow cars as they're going through there, and really promote on-street parking, even if it means eliminating some of the parking on the small lots there. I think that's a good trade overall for the community and for the walkability thereof.
Thank you. That's good feedback, and it's fairly consistent with what we've heard, from people in the community that call in and, want to give their insight and opinion into, how it should work downtown, and as well as with some of the studies that we've done. So the parking management plan, that yielded a healthy amount of information about the existing parking and then how we can maximize what we have. Staff has worked with businesses in the downtown regularly coming in, and we understand, it's an existing building on an existing lot. We can't grow the lot, right? So you kind of have to work with what you've got and be understanding of how that, works. From an aesthetic standpoint, I think the downtown area plan lays out a fairly good idea of what the intent of downtown should be, right? So we want to see the, extended sidewalks with the option for outdoor dining, thinking like Slow or like Claremont or, any of those places, Palm Springs even.
Yeah, El Paseo.
Right, exactly. So having those options. And then aesthetically, yeah, do we want to get as strict as, establishing a paint palette? Maybe not. But, do we have the tools to make sure that we capture the intent and we can sort of, I don't want to say enforce, but make sure that that intent is met so that we don't have the one hot pink building, amongst all the others. I think we do have some tools in the downtown area plan that would allow us to do that without having to get super strict with the guidelines. Like, some cities, in our research, we found some cities have a very strict sign ordinance where your signs can be one of 3 patterns. Everybody is internally illuminated channel letters. Your letters are either black or they're white, right? And they're one of 3 fonts, right? And so, sometimes that works in an area and then sometimes that doesn't,
Right.
And again, we're here collecting information, not necessarily advocating one way or the other, but the city currently does not have any hard and fast design standards aside from just what's in the downtown area plan. We have development standards that say how a lot has to look, from setbacks and that kind of thing, but we don't have anything that necessarily speaks to design. So this is just our first little forte into sort of seeing how everybody feels about it. And again, gathering info from you guys, from the community, from council, and we'll be just digesting it all. And then at council's direction, bringing it back when the time is right. So we're open to, collecting more either after this meeting, or if you hear from people in the community, send them our way. We're happy to, take that information down and start compiling things.
I think one area where design guidelines may be real beneficial would be, with wayfinding. So there's a consistent approach as far as, signage, where amenities are, maybe there's an opportunity at some point, like a larger retailer would want to sponsor a sign and put their business in what narrow and how far it is kind of thing.
Yeah.
Street lighting, those types of things. So there's a real cohesive feel to that. And that might be something, again, that breaks up different for these different districts as, what's going to be necessary. If we're looking at, Beaumont Avenue, the north part of it, you have older buildings, you've got bigger trees.
Yep.
So large overhead lighting may not be what's most appropriate there. If we can have, smaller bollard lights or something like that, or lights on smaller posts, it's going to be a little more context sensitive. But I think that's an area where having a real vision and design guideline, I think, would be beneficial. And I think that would inform a lot of decisions that business owners would make at the same time. It's like, here's what the city's going to do within the streets, and here's how the signage is going to look like.
Right.
And set a bar to say, like, okay, well, when I redevelop my business or refresh my business, I want to achieve, whatever that kind of ideal is as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I totally agree with that. I was thinking the same thing, that we have 3 distinct areas and they all have different looks to them. So it would make sense that we have three different requirement sets, perhaps, so that everything is still aesthetically pleasing and flows, but, you know, some areas are not going to need these specific signs, whereas others, it may work better to use that type of stringent expectations.
I always
Okay.
get lost trying to find the library, so having good signage there on which way to go.
And the other, I agree with the parking as well. We really need to make that much more user-friendly. I would also hope that we look at the backing out when we look at diagonal. When we look at the diagonal parking, making sure that it's safe to back out or requiring backing in.
Okay.
I like Ukaipa where they back in on the top part of Ukaipa Boulevard. It's kind of
Yes.
a weird setup, but it does work because, you know, you're not as blind coming out of the stall as you are.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
I've
If we're going to
seen-
have
Oh, no, go ahead,
more
Commissioner.
packed in traffic, we need to make it safer.
Yeah, I've seen some diagonal parking, like center median parking, where you just pull in, and so then you can pull straight out. You know what I mean? If depending on how you're coming in. So, you know, I'm not the Public Works road expert, like maybe Commissioner Smith or our folks over in Public Works, but I know in the area plan as well as in the parking management plan, we have several options that look at different ways that we can incorporate that, as well as, you know, street side parking, street parking with bike lanes, you know, all kinds of options available. There has been some talk at a very high level of, you know, a public parking structure, something to that effect, you know, down the road. Of course, that's more of a capital project that would take, you know, time and money, but as far as the long-term vision goes, I think there's an appetite or at least a willingness to explore that option, which would provide for the park once and then walk, and you can, you know, visit in the downtown. It would be in the area where that at least serve that dark blue area for the most part, and then some moving a little further east into the lighter blue area, the extended 6th Street.
So the park is included, or I guess the parcel of the police station on is included.
Yes, that is included. The park, though, is just north of.
I've seen the head and center median parking. Pismo Beach had that.
Oh, okay.
And they would utilize it as event space as well.
Exactly. So that's one of the things we had explored sometime during maybe pre-COVID or COVID. SCAG was taking calls for like demonstration projects and whatnot. And that was one of the things that we had thought about, was that would be a sort of an interesting demonstration project to implement, you know, temporarily at least, what the downtown area plan looks like for that median part, like in front of City Hall, showing that, oh, we could use this as parking, and then also have it as event space for a farmer's market or for, you know,
Car show.
yeah. Food truck night, you know, whatever. I mean, the possibilities are endless, you know, as far as that goes. So that's something I think as we continue on, staff will continue to explore the opportunities for doing things like the demonstration project. They're highly competitive, and so it's, you know, every city that's looking at doing something like this would love to have SCAG come in and, you know, do pretend play for a few weeks so you can see what it would really look like and function like. But I'm all about trying to take that on when we get a little more momentum going with this and
for
see
sure.
how that plays out.
I know Banning, they closed down Ramsey at San Gorgonio quite a bit. You know, there are farmers markets there, you know, special events for the chamber, that kind of thing. The challenge is always, you know, if you do make that road closure, how do you get access to the businesses, and that's where it falls back again, where the parking is back a block and on the rear of the property.
Yeah.
Then you have continuous access to them, even if the front of the store may be impacted by a temporary street closure.
Yeah, I actually went and checked out how they do their street closure and their market night. It was before Christmas last year, but I thought, I'm gonna go down and check it out. And they have a similar setup to our downtown where you have a lot of the streets that have the side and rear parking on the parcels, and they set up their market night and had all their vendors out there, and it was actually pretty well attended. I didn't know what to expect, and I was pleasantly surprised for Banning that they had a nice little setup out there. So it was good to take note of how they do that and then look at contextually how that would work, in our downtown area.
So we'll go back around again. Commissioner Stevens, any thoughts you would like to add?
Yeah, going off Commissioner Black and I believe yourself, the gas station in Wells Fargo area, that would be the southeast corner of Beaumont Avenue. Something like this would traffic control and slowing it down would hopefully improve the safety of that, because people make lefts and rights out of that gas station. Which exit do they use? And safety is a big concern for that area, I think, as you move further west towards Beaumont Avenue. So that was just my only comment, and appreciate Commissioner Black and Smith speaking up about those things.
Commissioner Bedoya?
I agree that the downtown area needs a revitalization. There are some areas, especially after sunset, that I don't personally feel safe. So, I'd be interested to look at some plans to how to make that happen. There are some. It seems like that whole Beaumont 6th Street, it was kind of whoever wanted to come and set up a business. I don't really see like a flow of just as a hodgepodge there. So it's kind of, I just remember when I first came, my very first time driving, getting off on the 6th Street exit. I'd gotten off on Beaumont Avenue before. I got off on 6th Street looking for the water department. Had no idea, I didn't know where City Hall was. So some signage in that downtown area, I think, would be useful for just even anyone wanting to come to Beaumont to see, especially if we have like a market night like Redlands. I think that would be wonderful. I think I do see like businesses that are kind of popping up on sidewalks. So, and I always look and think, I don't know if that's legal or not, but if I do see long lines at them, so I know that there's some kind of demand. So I do feel that something downtown where it was walkable and everyone felt safe and it was well lit, I think that would be wonderful for Beaumont. So.
I saw the ordinances on street vendors and food trucks that are pending, so.
Yeah, that was going to be in my community development director updates
Oh,
later.
okay, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Jumping the gun. Commissioner Black, anything else you wanted to add?
I think the more that I think about it, I'd almost like to see three different aesthetically three different plans for each area, but it put together kind of as a schema so that it all flows together, but you have these separate areas that are obvious. So this might be the antique area, because you're right, it is kind of a hodgepodge downtown with the architecture. So try to utilize that hodgepodge and make it flow better and kind of have, the Beaumont area is Beaumont Avenue area is a little more, it comes together a little bit more as far as the architecture. Whereas I think that the 6th Street is definitely a hodgepodge. So we have to look at maybe making that 6th Street area to look like one aspect, but be able to flow into the Beaumont area and then further west on 6th Street. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It does, yeah.
okay.
I get it.
Yeah, or backing on that, I think there's a lot of opportunity in the eastern part of 6th Street. A lot of parcels that are still left open, a lot of parcels that would be ripe for, new development or redevelopment. I think it's gonna be harder downtown. I look at where the dance studio is, the likelihood of that building moving up to this, it's not likely. But we have to be kind of aware of that as well. Yeah, but I think the eastern part of 6th Street for sure. I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Agreed. Okay, well, this is good. We have taken copious notes and we'll start the compilation of these items along with the other things that we hear. And I'm sure at some point it will come back. We're going to, like we said earlier, have the community gathering or business gathering in March, and we'll be attending as, flies on the wall, just trying to, gather information and hear what's going on. And then, as council continues to give direction on, what the next steps will be, either with the downtown business groups or just in general, we'll proceed accordingly. And then if things move down a more formal road, then it'll be back to the commission and then, through the typical process.
I apologize. I had one more thought I wanted to add.
Go for it.
I'd like to avoid 2nd Street where we have shopping centers that don't share parking access, where everybody has to get back out on the main roads for circulation. So, especially on the eastern part of 6th Street, if there's opportunities there to highly encourage, if not require, property owners to have some shared access points, I think that would be, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Makes all of our lives easier, honestly.
Yes.
In the long run.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like, do I make a right? Do I make a left? Is this going to take me to a right only? Am I going to get, how do I get to Kohl's?
Right.
I want a burger and then I want to go shopping.
Chairman, I have one other.
Of course.
You reminded me on the 2nd Street development on the ADA access. It was some time ago, I think I emailed staff perhaps about it on the only ramp by the eyeglass place.
America's Best.
America's Best.
Next to the Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, so the only ramp was, pretty far for this particular individual that they had a hard time making it to those businesses because the minimum requirement was met, but it was the bare minimum, and access for certain individuals with walking problems is impeded.
Okay.
And so having better accessibility, more ramps, whatever it takes, I think would encourage those with disabilities to visit our downtown, or at least be very comfortable doing so.
Sure, understood, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for your comments. I'm looking forward to seeing this progress. It's been a discussion item, God, at least 10 years since I've been sitting on here. And to finally get some actual traction back behind it, I think is encouraging, so.
Yeah, I know there was prior to my time here, there was a plan that was considered that was never adopted, and so I know it's kind of always been lingering out there, downtown stuff. So, again, council's engaged with this, and so we thought we should start, getting some feedback. If, like I said earlier, if you all think of anything else, feel free to give me a call, or shoot an email over. If you're out talking to people and anybody is interested, feel free to have them shoot us an email. We're always happy to take the input and put it with the collective input that we have that at some point will get relayed to council.
I wish more people would participate by Zoom to, kind of hear some of this stuff, but yeah. Only limit that so much. All right, so thank you. So moving on to Community Development Director comments.
Sure. So, Commissioner Smith mentioned, or was it Commissioner, about the food trucks? Yeah, you did. Okay. I know that was only like 2 minutes ago, but somehow it just went out of my brain already. So we have had a discussion on street vendors / food trucks at council a couple times over the last few months. And so there is a distinction. I know Commissioner Bedoya mentioned the vendors that pop up on the sidewalks. And so we have those vendors typically are covered under SB 946, which was state law that took effect in 2019, 2020, that basically allowed for street vendors to operate in the public right-of-way within certain parameters, but essentially they can pop up on the sidewalk and, sell their goods or serve food or whatever. The food truck item that was before council is distinctly different in a sense that it addresses motorized mobile food vendors not covered under SB 946. So that would be anybody towing a smoker or a barbecue truck or an actual food truck as we think of them. And so the ordinance that will it actually be coming to you all, I'm thinking probably March-ish, either our March meeting or our April meeting, in its real adoptable format for discussion. And it basically will address both operation of food trucks in public arenas, such as the public right-of-way, streets, those kind of things, and then also on private property. So what it would look like if someone wants to have a food truck event on their property, because we do see that as well. We have some vendors that will partner with private properties now and pop up on their, properties after hours. And so we're trying to provide some kind of balance between the street vendors on the far, extreme of one end, and then our brick and mortar restaurants on the other end that are paying all of the, the taxes and the infrastructure and, all of those kind of things. So in an effort to address the sort of the middle ground with people that, want to operate a business, but maybe don't have the brick and mortar, we still as a city need to make sure that there are guidelines and regulations in place that require them to, have their health department inspections and pay their business license and report their sales tax and all of those things. So we've spent some time looking at what other cities have done, other counties, all the way from San Diego down to up north, and have put together some information on, not reinventing the wheel, but looking at some things that seem to really be working in some places, but also then looking at other items that needed to be specifically crafted for our city. And so it's the item that went to council the last time is available on the website if anyone's interested. It was from the meeting on February 1st or February 15th, sorry. And so you can take a look at that, and then we'll again be back here, I think in March, with something for you guys. In the meantime, if you have any questions about street vendors or about food trucks or other types of operations like that, feel free to send me an email. It's an ongoing, ever-evolving sort of process between what the legislature allows and how we can enforce it. And we work with code enforcement, we work with the police department, to make sure that the guidelines are enforced, but also, try and help people get into compliance too, as we understand that, people want to have a business and whatnot. So it's always walking that fine line. So anyway, that'll be coming to you guys. Anything else you can think of offhand? Okay, yeah, over the next few months, you all will start to get real busy, and we're gonna we have some very large-scale projects that should be coming down the pipe between spring and summer. And so we will, obviously those, due to the nature of the projects, those things will be posted on the website and, properly noticed and all of the things that CEQA requires us to do, as well as following all of the property owner notifications and, those things. But just have that on your radar in the back that we'll be ramping up here, I think, over the next 4 months or so, to have some of our big projects finally coming through.
For some of these big projects, is it possible to have a little more advance notice so we're not getting it on a Friday to hear it on a Tuesday?
I'm okay with that. If the city clerk doesn't have any objection, we're happy to package that and get you the information
Yeah,
ahead of time to allow for proper review.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be appreciated.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll send it as soon as you send it to me.
Yeah, possible, if it's possible 2 weeks would be great, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Where are we with the battery project?
So that was approved. They are currently, I think, working on drawings for plan check, or have we seen it come through for plan check? No, okay. So they're working on their drawings. They have not come through yet for plan check. They also have some issues with Edison, and they have a number of overhead utility lines that are existing, and Edison, because of the size, I think the voltage of those, they're not like your normal, like, neighborhood poles that could easily be underground. So the city and TerraGen and Edison are working together on some timeline for how those would factor in relationship to how the site will be built, or when the site would be built. So the code allows for a deferral, I think, of a year on relocating those. Since it's an Edison issue anyway, I think the city is working on an agreement with them, and that actually would run through the Public Works Department. But I know that they've been in pretty good communication. They've also expressed some interest in wanting to do a community benefit of some kind related to their project. So we're looking at maybe some EV charging stations or something like that. Maybe not at their property, somewhere that it would be of a benefit to the community. So that's also been in the works, and we appreciate their commitment to the city and to, the clean energy that they're trying to help promote. So we'll keep you all posted on that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. With no further business, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting tonight at 7:05. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Forgot to use the gavel.